If you're drawn to quiet offices after midnight, restrained desire that builds with every unsaid word, and the kind of romance where one late night changes everything, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. This is the story of the night we stayed to finish one project and never turned the office lights back on. The building empties out at exactly 7:03 p.m. It's not dramatic. No alarms. No announcements. Just the gradual thinning of sound. Keyboards falling silent, chairs rolling back, the elevator chiming one last time before the floor goes still. By 7:15 it's just me. And him. I didn't plan to stay this late. I told myself I'd finish one last section of the report, send it off and go home. That was the intention when I kicked off my heels under the desk and loosened my hair tie. But intention has a way of unraveling when someone else stays too. I can help, he says from the doorway of my office. I look up startled. Ethan Blackwood doesn't linger during work hours. He passes through spaces with purpose, collects results, leaves. People make room for him instinctively. White, tall, late 30s, sharp eyes that miss nothing and voice that never needs repeating. Shouldn't you be gone? I ask. So should you, he replies calmly. Fair. I glance at the clock. I just need to clean up the data. The numbers don't align. He steps inside without asking, jacket already off, sleeves rolled up. Show me. That's how it starts. We work in silence at first. The kind that isn't awkward, just focused. He pulls a chair beside mine, close enough that I can feel the heat from his arm when he leans in, but he doesn't touch. Not once. I notice everything anyway. The way he smells faintly of something clean and understated. The way his attention sharpens when he concentrates, jaw tightening slightly. The way he never crowds my space even when he needs to point something out. You missed a decimal, he says quietly. I lean closer to the screen. Our shoulders brush. Barely. Electric. Neither of us reacts. I fix the error, swallow, and sit back. Thanks. He nods. You're thorough. Sounds like praise. Feels like something else. By the time we finish, it's past 9. The floor is dark except for the soft glow of desk lamps and the city lights bleeding in through the windows. I glance toward the hallway. We should probably turn the lights back on, I say. Ethan doesn't move. No need. We're done. He closes my office door halfway, not shutting it, just enough to dim the corridor light. Something tightens in my chest. Ethan, I say, unsure why his name feels heavier in the dark. Yes. This feels different. Because it is, he replies. I turn in my chair to face him. Different how? He considers me in silence, eyes unreadable. Because during the day, we pretend we don't notice things. And at night, he says quietly, there's nothing left to hide behind. The words settle between us, intimate and dangerous. I stand gathering my bag too quickly. I should go. He doesn't block me. He doesn't move at all. You can, he says. I won't stop you. I hesitate. The truth is, I don't want him to. I don't want him to do anything. I want him to choose not to. I step past him toward the door. My arm brushes his chest. This time he inhales sharply. That's the first crack. We end up in the conference room without deciding to be there. It's darker than the rest of the floor. The glass walls reflecting city lights and our silhouettes. The long table feels too formal for the way my pulse is racing. You stay late often? I ask, needing to hear my own voice. Yes. Why? Because it's quiet, he answers. And because I think better when there's less to manage. People. He nods. Expectations. I sit on the edge of the table, suddenly aware of how exposed I feel in the dimness. You manage a lot, I say. His gaze drops briefly, then lifts again. So do you. The compliment lands softly. Precisely. The tension has been there for months. I realize that now. In meetings where his eyes lingered a second too long. In emails that were always professional but never cold. In the way he never touched anyone, not casually, not for emphasis. Do you do this often? I ask. Do what? Stay close without crossing lines. His mouth curves faintly. Only when crossing them would mean something. My heart stutters. And would it? I ask. Yes, he says immediately. The certainty in his voice makes my breath hitch. The lights go out without warning. One moment, the conference room is bathed in low city glow. The next, everything drops into shadow as the building's motion sensors time out. I gasp despite myself. Ethan moves instantly, not toward me but closer. "Hey," he says softly. "You're fine." His hand hovers near my elbow. Hovering. Waiting. "You're not touching me," I murmur. "No," he agrees. "Why?" "Because you haven't asked." The air feels thick charged. I turn toward him, our faces inches apart now. I can see the outline of his jaw, the intensity in his eyes. "What if I don't know how?" I whisper. "Then we wait," he says. "Or we talk." "About what?" "About whether this is something you want," he replies. "Not just something you feel. The distinction matters. We talk. About work. About ambition. About the cost of being the person everyone relies on. I don't let myself want things I can't control," he admits. "And me?" I ask before I can stop myself. He doesn't pretend to misunderstand. "You're not something to control." "Then what am I?" His voice drops. "A risk." The honesty sends a shiver through me. Time stretches. Minutes pass without movement. I become acutely aware of how close we are, how little stands between restraint and choice. "I don't do casual," I say quietly. "Neither do I. And this," I gesture vaguely between us, "wouldn't be." "No," he agrees. "It wouldn't." I swallow. "Then why stay?" "Because leaving would be easier," he says. "And I don't want easy tonight." The words undo me. I step closer. Close enough that his breath brushes my cheek. He still doesn't touch me. "You're very disciplined," I murmur. "Discipline is how I avoid regret." "And desire?" "That's how I remember I'm human." I lift my hand slowly, giving him time to stop me. He doesn't. My fingers brush his sleeve, then his forearm, solid, warm, real. The moment feels suspended. "Is this okay?" I ask. He nods once. "Yes." The permission changes everything. He touches me then, not hurried, not possessive. Intentional. His hand settles at my waist, firm enough to be grounding, gentle enough to feel chosen. My breath catches. "This is the line," he murmurs. "Once we cross it, we don't pretend it didn't happen." "I don't want to," I reply. "Good." He rests his forehead against mine, the intimacy of it almost unbearable. The city hums below us, unaware. We don't rush. The night unfolds slowly, deliberately. Every movement is a question. Every response an answer. There's no need to say more. By the time the lights flick back on automatically, hours later, we're sitting side by side on the conference table, shoulders touching, silence comfortable and heavy with meaning. "That project," I say faintly, trying to ground myself. He smiles just slightly. "Finished." "And us?" He meets my gaze. "Started." We leave the building together just before dawn. The city is quiet, washed clean by night air and possibility. At the door I pause. "This changes things." "Yes," he agrees. "You're not worried?" "I'm aware," he corrects. "There's a difference." "And tomorrow?" He opens the door for me. "Tomorrow we'll decide how to carry this." I step outside, heart full and steady. The office lights remain off behind us. We don't turn back to fix it. Some things are meant to stay in the dark. And some nights are never meant to be repeated, only remembered. The next morning feels strangely normal. Sunlight filters through my curtains, soft and unassuming. Like the night before didn't rewrite something fundamental. My phone buzzes with emails, reminders, calendar alerts. The world hasn't paused just because something in me has shifted. I shower longer than usual, letting the heat ground me, replaying the quiet intensity of the night in fragments rather than scenes. His voice in the dark, the way he waited, the way nothing felt rushed, even when everything felt inevitable. At work, people are already gathered near the coffee machine when I arrive. "Long night?" Someone asks casually. I hesitate for half a second, then I smile. "Productive." It's the truth. Ethan doesn't appear until mid-morning. When he does, the energy in the room barely changes except for me. He's the same as always. Composed, focused, professional. But when his eyes meet mine across the open floor, Something unspoken passes between us. Not ownership. Not secrecy. Recognition. He doesn't come to my desk. He doesn't message me. He lets the distance exist in daylight, like he understands that night and day play by different rules. At lunch, I find him in the break room alone. "You okay?" he asks quietly, like it matters. "Yes," I reply. "You?" A pause. Then a small nod. "Yes." That's enough. The days that follow don't unravel. They refine. We don't pretend nothing happened, but we also don't rush to define it. There are no whispered conversations in hallways, no stolen touches. Just an awareness that settles deeper with time. He notices when I'm overwhelmed and quietly shifts deadlines. I notice when he skips meals and leaves coffee on his desk without comment. We learn each other in increments that feel earned. One evening a week later I stay late again. This time I know exactly why. The office empties the same way it always does, slowly, predictably. By the time the lights dim automatically, it's just the two of us again. "You don't have to stay," he says, not looking up from his screen. "I know," I reply. Silence stretches. Then he adds carefully, "I won't assume." I close my laptop and stand. Good. I walk into the conference room without asking. He follows. This time, the darkness doesn't feel charged with uncertainty. Feels intentional. We sit across from each other at first. The table between us a familiar barrier. City lights glow faintly through the glass walls, reflections doubling us, blurring edges. "Last time changed things," I say. "Yes." "Are you comfortable with that?" He meets my gaze fully. "I wouldn't be here if I wasn't." The honesty steadies me. "I don't want this to become something we hide," I say. "Or something that controls us." "It won't," he replies. "Not if we're deliberate." "And if it gets complicated?" A faint smile. "It already is." He moves closer then, but not all the way. Close enough that I feel him again, familiar now instead of shocking. "This still matters," he says softly. "The waiting. The choosing." "I know," I reply. "That's why I'm here." His hand finds mine easily this time, no hesitation, no question. The contact is warm, grounding, real. Nothing about it feels rushed. We don't stay until dawn again. We don't need to. When we leave the building that night, the lights turn off behind us automatically, just like before. This time, neither of us looks back. Outside, the city hums. Alive, indifferent, moving forward. At the curb, he stops. "This won't always be simple," he says. "I don't need simple," I reply. "I need honest." He nods. Then we're aligned. We part ways without ceremony, without promises that feel too big for the moment. Just a shared understanding that something has started, and that it will grow at its own pace. As I walk home, I realize something unexpected. The night didn't change everything because of what happened in the dark. Changed everything because of what didn't. Because he waited. Because he listened. Because when the lights went out, neither of us disappeared. And now, even in daylight, I can still feel him there.